Hello and welcome to this tutorial on how to create an AI character. So to do that we go to Tools, Option Games, Character Wizard. Same thing as for a player character. And then we select our 3D model that we want to create a character of. So I'm gonna use a Cinti model there. For example, this one here. Untick is her player character. Select animator controller, an AI profile, or you can also create a new one. The AI profile has all the settings for the AI itself, such as movement, strafing, attacking, blocking, things like that. I'm gonna just use a pre-existing one here. Faction database, a new one. The faction database, it holds the relations between factions. So, for example, the player faction or the knight faction is neutral, so they won't attack each other immediately, only if one of them attacks the other. And for example, the empire and the knight faction is hostile. If you don't set up something here, then by default, two factions are regarded as hostile, so they will attack each other. You, of course, can also select the faction here. For example, let's put it into the barbarian faction. Then if this is a quest enemy, quests are explained in another tutorial, but if you want your AI to be a quest enemy, you can either do it later by hand, it's just a script that gets added, or do it here automatically. And then this here is the quest ID, and it needs to match perfectly the one that you set up in the quest for the target, just to keep that in mind. Then a equipment profile or the inventory, you can also pre-select one. It's this one, or create a new one here. And then it's the same for the character, that you can copy all of the mounts from the existing character in the scene. It has to be, so you don't have to set up every weapon point, for example the hand for the two-handed weapon, then for the one-handed, also all of the when the weapon is stored in the inventory on the back and things like that. So it's just easier to let them be copied over and to generate directly. Then you just click setup and spawn character. Here it is. One thing that we need to do is adjust the character controller and the navmesh agent. Here it's important that the radius of the navmesh agent is a bit bigger than the character agent, than the character controller, for avoidance. Just to keep that in mind. So something like this, and we're gonna do it something like, for example, like this. Here you can see, yes, it's a bit bigger in the radius, the diameter, so it will have local avoidance. Another thing is for the ragdoll, as you can see, the colliders are not fitting perfectly, so you can adjust the size of those. For example, here at the hips, we can just make it bigger and go through it for everyone. And also here on the body part hitbox, you can adjust the damage multiplier. For example, a head should take more damage than hands or feet or something like that. And since all of the damage is only done through those body part hitboxes for characters, it's quite good to adjust the colliders and the damage modifier. So another thing that we can already set up is for the AI controller, the obstacle mask. If you want to have one, I always set it to default, so it does not see everything. And also the sight range. You can see here this yellow diameter is the side range. That's how far it can see enemies. And then the view angle is actually where in this specific diameter it can see enemies, so it can't see behind its own back, for example. Only if you put it to 360 degrees or something like that. But it's for realness, let's say. You can also choose a behavior mode. For example, Arena Seeker, it will just seek out the nearest enemy pretty much on the whole map. Then you can choose idle and defend. Here it will just stand around idle until it's attacked. Then it will defend itself. And you can also choose the waypoint patrol, so it actually patrols waypoints. I will show you real quick how to create waypoints. Let's call this waypoint here. Then you just add a waypoint path. And if you click enter edit mode here, if you press shift and left click, it's also explained here. If you only left click, then you can spawn new waypoints in the scene. They will be added automatically. And if you then press shift and left click, you can delete the closest one. So you have a good workflow here. You can of course also exit the edit mode here again by the button and adjust everything manually. For example, I'm now gonna place the 0 waypoint somewhere over here. And once you like it, then let's just rotate this one so it does not immediately attack the player then. Once you like it, you can just assign it here on the waypoint path. There's also code in the AI controller, so you can change the waypoint path on runtime. Let's say you want to use it because of events or something, but it will be in the documentation. And that's pretty much it for the setup. You can of course change all of the other values. I'm gonna look through the AI profile real quick. So those are the general settings. This one here is for speed and to match the animations. Profile name is actually never used. It's just here in case you want to have some sort of system in place. So I put it inside. Then melee settings and range settings are probably the most important. It's for creating different levels of enemy. Let's say you want to have an easy enemy or a hard enemy or things like that. That's where you set it up. For example, reaction time, maximum attack hold time and things like that, cooldowns. Everything has tooltips. But the most important one is probably the smart attack chance. It is when the player blocks a direction. Let's say the player blocks against a hit from the head. This is the probability that the AI will then avoid this direction. So if the player block or another AI, just the enemy from this AI blocks against a head blow, then the AI will do a stab or a sidewards attack from the left or something, so it will not, so the attack will go through and still hit. This is the probability that it does this. Otherwise, it can be that it just chooses a random direction and gets blocked. Then the block chance is the chance of how much it actually blocks an incoming attack. It does not say that it does the right block. It just that it even does try to block. And the perfect block chance is then once it blocks, if it actually blocks the right attack direction. So with those three, you can pretty much set up different hardness of enemy levels, if you want to say that. And also the max blocks. So this is how many blocks the AI can actually do before it has to start attacking again. This is to avoid that the AI just permanently blocks and never starts attacking itself. So it's good to play around with that. Those ones here are distance multiplier, so that it comes closer when attacking or goes back once it does not attack, things like that. Here for the ranged, we have a min and max aim time. It will then be chosen between random between those two. Then we have a aim offset, and we can also do a random deviation from the target, so it does not perfectly hit every time, things like that. Here, and for the strafe settings, here you can set up a min and maximum strafe duration and a percentage of a pause chance. This is so it does not permanently just strafe around the player in a circle, things like that, that it actually does stop for a while and stand around, for example. Yeah, those are the most important settings. All of the others you can of course also change, but they also all have tooltips and are in the written documentation. It's also good to just play around with it a bit. But yeah, we can try out the AI. One more thing, the attack distance from the AI, how close it actually goes to the player, is done through the weapon data. It will be also explained in the tutorial for weapon data. But if you want to actually have a visualization of the attack distance, you can assign here a weapon data. For example, the 200 sword. If you add it here, it's just for debugging, but then you can see the circle around it, how close it actually goes. And yeah, it's here under combat stats, attack range. That's actually the distance that the AI uses. Just to be aware of that. So we can try it out now. Let's see if everything works. Okay, as you can see, it just immediately saw us and started attacking. Good thing that this works. We can block. The hit detection and the blood particles, of course, now are not that good because I did not adjust all of the colliders from the ragdoll. But once they would be adjusted, everything would work out. We can also, now just so you see that the waypoints is working, I'm gonna change the spawn position of the player so it does not immediately see us. And it does. Oh, it is because the behavior mode is still put to Arena Seeker, so it will just seek out the nearest enemy, which is always us, because we are the only player. So let's change that to Waypoint Patrol. And here you can see that it's actually patrolling. Let's just disable this minimap icon. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any problems, just feel free to reach out to me over Discord, email, or anything else that you want, and have a nice day.